The other day I saw Mark Cuban on the old computer on the interwebs, and he was talking about. He said, "Hey, one thing, everybody who's got any money, everybody who's rich, everybody that knows anything about business knows that if you know something, you keep it to yourself and you make money with it. You don't tell everybody." Well, I thought, yeah, that's really true. And I was in the midst of investigating some new ways to make money when I saw it, and I thought, but is it really true? I mean, I know it is generally, but the fact is, I'm here right now telling you, like I have for 175 plus episodes on Flipping Genius, telling you what I know about my business, so you can go out and make money and possibly compete with me. And I know some of you guys have competed with me. I know some a handful of you are the same folks that I see at my local auction and are in my neck of the woods. The fact is that something like 89% of our listeners are are in the United States, but the percentage in Alabama is like 3 or 4% total. So, and then as I zero it down to my backyard, there's not very many of you who are really right here. So I don't worry about it. In fact, I feel like it makes me better at what I do by talking about what I do, and it gives me a situation where I am more accountable to myself and to you by talking about it every week. So while Mark Cuban is, I'm sure he's right. I'm sure he's smarter than me. He's got a lot more money than me, and I've learned some things by listening to Mark every now and then, including that. I mean, it made me think about what I was listening to that particular day, and recognize that there's there's another shoe that's going to fall, and we've all been in those situations. I recall being in a training session in Nashville, Tennessee, several years ago, going on probably going on 20 years ago, and and these guys were teaching us about at the time short selling real estate. And I sat in this meeting and listened to these guys talk about it, and boy, I thought, I learned a lot of stuff, and I thought, boy, they're really sharp, and I thought, but why are these folks from Florida who know so much about short selling real estate standing here in Nashville, Tennessee on a weekend to try to teach me how to do it? And I thought, well, there must be more money in teaching it than there is in doing it. Honestly, that one thing led to another, as it often does for me. And I wound up writing a book about short selling, which is still available, which was very profitable. It put me in a situation where I was able to partner up with a lot of people in the real estate business. And I was really glad I was there on that Saturday. And I was really glad that I looked at what they were doing with, I guess, cautious eyes. But at the same time, I learned a ton from them, and it was very valuable. So I hope the same thing happens here. I hope that you're learning from what I talk about, both in my successes and my failures, and I hope that we're all making money. But I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about not just what we're doing here at Flipping Genius, but I want to talk to you about being cautious about what you take in and what you create for yourself and for you know your family and friends and your partners. Um, what do you do with it? Where do you go with it? How do you make money, and how do you not get taken to the cleaners by somebody who's really just there to try to make a buck off you? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And honestly, this is a little self therapy too, because I've got quite a few things cooking right now, and as I've talked about in the last few episodes, I'm going to try to expand my reach with all of you and share more information about what all I'm doing in business. And I think that this can help us all, and I know it helps me when I talk to you about what I'm doing. It helps me. So it's a little selfish of me to discuss this, but I know what we're going to talk about today is going to be valuable. So we're going to talk about social media. We're going to talk about online marketing. We're going to talk about online learning and in-person learning and partnering with others, both on the web and in person. and how to maximize your profitability and learn the most you can and earn the most you can without getting caught up in something that is actually just a profit center for somebody else. So I'm going to take a little break. When I come back, we'll talk more about this. So I I was out for a walk today, like I am most days, and got back to the car and came across the young guy, who asked me about the signs on my car, wanted to know what cars I had for sale. And we had a good conversation. And I mentioned to him that not too long ago, I weighed over 400 pounds. Some of you may already know that. Maybe you don't know that. One time I weighed, I think, 406 pounds. It's either 403 or 406. Today I'm right around I think about 215 right now. Um, and I've lost a lot of weight by walking. Some of you have heard me talk about intermittent fasting. That's something I do now, and it's at this point kind of really just maintaining the weight. I'd like to get down to 200, but it's not there. Anyway, that's not the point of this conversation. This young guy told me, when I told him that he told me that he also had weighed over 300 pounds, maybe close to 400. And frankly, he looked like somebody who never weighed more than 150 pounds. So it struck me that he was probably full of crap. He might not have been, and I know I'm not, but it just struck me that I didn't really believe him. And if he's listening right now for somehow, or if we get together sometime, and he shows me a picture and says, "Here I am. This is what I used to look like." I forgive me, but sometimes you got to go with your gut, you know. And I'm not talking about the big gut I used to have. I mean, you got to go with the gut inside and say, "Is this real? Is this not real?" And I was talking about it earlier before the break. We talked about Mark Cuban saying, the same kind of thing. You gotta realize that everything you see and hear is not always true. And that was an instance there that really I was having a good conversation with him. I might be completely wrong. Sometimes I am, but most of the time I'm not. Most of the time my gut leads me in the right direction. So that was part of that's why I brought that up. I mentioned earlier that there's a lot of folks out there trying to, get you on their guru path, get you to do the get rich quick thing and follow them and buy their courses and things like that. And I mean, I'm kind of crazy to poo-poo that, because I actually have a book in the works that I'm hoping to sell to you guys at some point in time, not long from now. And maybe that will even lead to a course. I've thought about that too. Um, but I don't have it right now, and that's not the point of my conversation right now. My point of my conversation is just to say, be cautious what you believe, and learn from what you get. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I sometimes I sign up for courses. Sometimes I'll even pay for a course, and everything I do, one way or another, I learn from it, even if it's just to learn that now that's not what I want to do, or that really doesn't work. But most of the time, when I take a class or I watch a YouTube video, what I learn is actually something I can use, something that does make you money, but it's usually not the whole story. Usually you have to put some effort in. So, be cautious, but keep your ears open, keep your head on a swivel, and you're going to learn some things. There's a lot of different ways to skin a cat when it comes to car flipping. No doubt, there's a lot of different ways to do it. So, don't be afraid to listen, but be cautious. Be cautious. Um, and along those lines, I wanted to talk about some stuff that I'm doing. I try to learn all the time. Try to constantly be looking for ways to expand what I'm doing. And I think that's something we all have to do in the current, especially in the current world that we're in. I'm listening to a book right now. Doesn't matter which book it is, and it's a fiction book. And it was funny because it's based in the year 2000, which some of you guys, that was before you were born. And to some of you who are like me, that just doesn't seem that long ago. And in the book, this character in the book is going to run for president, and he's trying to find a chief of staff for his run. And he finds there's one man that he finds is up in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and this particular senator that was going to run for president is in Georgia, and they say, well, he would probably do the job if he could stay in Cambridge. And the guy says, well, with a phone and a fax machine, he certainly can do it. And it struck me as comical, because a fax machine is something that I could send a fax, I guess, from my computer. I don't know where I would send it to because it's just such a foreign thing. I looked it up and because I was just thinking, I Googled when was the last time, when did we get high-speed internet? And I was surprised, it happened, for most Americans around 2007, I think. And we're so used to this change, this ongoing being confronted with change. And man, it is the same in every single business. And it has been pretty much forever, but now the change is faster and faster and faster because of the speed that we're able to communicate, because of the speed we're able to compute. And that is something that just changes our environment and makes it so you got to keep looking for new ways to do things, better ways to do things. And so frankly, I'm always looking for ways to do what I'm already doing better and ways to do different things. And I'm in the midst of that right now, and I've mentioned it, the past few episodes. By the way, I want to apologize because I've been away from the microphone quite a bit, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me. I would love to be on that schedule that we were on every Wednesday. I was on for a long time, every Wednesday at 6 a.m. Boom, we were here. Maybe we'll get back to that, but I've got a lot of other things cooking, so I hope you forgive me, and I thank you for the ones who are listening religiously, and I hope to build those numbers still, but just have a lot of stuff cooking. And I part of that is new ways to make money, new ways to enjoy the money that we've made. Both those things are important to me because I'm not 23 years old. I'm not 33, 43, or 53. I'm in the stage of life. I hope that we can start enjoying some of our freedoms, and so I'm doing more of that, but I don't want to get away from you guys because I think I can help you. And I thought one of the best ways I can help you is just to be real and tell you what I've got going. And one of the things that I'm investigating, and I may have mentioned it the last time, I can't remember, is this ChatGPT, this artificial intelligence. I think they're calling it AI. It's fascinating what this stuff can do. I just goofing around told ChatGPT, I can't remember what it is. I told it to write a script for an episode of Flippin' Genius. Gave it a little bit of input, and it was amazing what it came up with. This is not the script, by the way. This is just off the cuff completely. You can probably tell. But the script, if I did the script, it would be a pretty good episode. The fact is that a lot of the things that it came up with, we have already covered, but that doesn't mean we can't cover them again. But the fascinating thing there is that here's a tool that we have access to for free. One of the things I asked it to do is come up with 50 slogans for selling cheap cars. And within 5 seconds, it did that. It gave me 50 pretty good slogans. I'd say 30 of the 50 were ones that I might use if I was buying a billboard or buying an ad in a advertisement in a newspaper, which nobody does that anymore. Or if I was putting ads on Facebook, I might use those slogans for boom, 5 seconds they came up with it. And this is something I've been messing with. I told you I'm writing a book. I'm using ChatGPT to help expedite it because it's amazing what that can do. So, you've got to be cautious. But there's a tool that you can use to expedite your work. And there's more and more of these things coming out now. And that's going to help you. Well, I would say it's going to help you make more money, but I think what really is going to happen is it's going to help you stay in the game. And realistically, I think initially for those of us who get out in front of it, yeah, it'll probably help us make some more money, but everybody's going to catch up. And if you don't stay up with this stuff, the technology, you will lag behind. So that's some of the things I'm doing. For those of you maybe know a little bit about me. I've done graphic design work for years. I've been involved in publishing for years, and we're working on some of that as well. And you'll probably see some of it trickle in to the website, possibly elsewhere, where we're doing some design work that I think may give me a little bit more freedom. Don't plan on getting away from the car business altogether, but just doing a little bit more diverse work so that maybe I can spend a little more time at the beach and the lake and enjoy myself and without having to, go to the car auction every week. It's a pretty good choice though to have those different options, and I'm very thankful for that. And I do, again though, I want to caution you. These are great things, use this technology, but be careful who you're learning from. And the key is if it sounds too good to be true, well, the fact is it could be just what they say. But if somebody offers to make it so easy that anybody could do it and anybody can make $1 million this week, that's not true. And just take things with a grain of salt. Don't give people a bunch of money. Me, I don't give people money unless it's going to make me a lot of money. So don't give away your money. Do your due diligence, no matter what tools you're using, no matter what systems you're using, no matter what training you see out there. Do your due diligence. Check in and get some references before you jump in. I'm not saying don't give it a try. Give things a try and check them out, but you can usually do that for free. So don't let people rip you off. So it seems to be a big thing, but I really do want to make sure that you be cautious. I'm going to take another break because I got to get some more Kickapoo Joy Juice. And when I get back, we're going to talk about some of this other stuff: social media marketing, online marketing, and this online learning and partnering. I think that's where we're going with today, and we'll wrap this thing up. But I'm going to try to put some money in your pocket this week, and I'll be right back. The number one goal of Flipping Genius is to help you make more money. Become a flipping team member or a flipping partner today. Learn more at flippinggenius.com. All right, we're back. If you're wondering, Randy keeps changing his shirts, doing this in different segments. Trying to work around all the things that I've got cooking, and I'm guessing that you have a lot cooking too, so you probably understand what I'm saying. If you're wondering if you're listening to the podcast right now and you say, "What's Randy talking about?" If you're watching the video, you've seen I've changed shirts 3 times in this episode alone, at least three times. and that's because I'm doing this in segments because I don't have time to sit in front of the computer all the time because I've got other stuff happening. And that was part of what I wanted to talk about. Talk about, you know, we've mentioned the changes, the changing structure of business, no matter what business you're in. And I've seen it over the years in the various businesses I've been involved in, from the clothing business to the uh, publishing business to the real estate business to the car business. That things change and they continue to change, and they're changing even faster now than they really have ever before. And they're going to continue to change faster than they have or that they are than they are right now. One of the things that, as of this date, today, as I record this, it's November 21st, 2023. And I say that because as of this date, social media is still important. I don't know in a year or two what will be important. Neither do you. We can guess, we can plan, we can make educated guesses, we can study, we can listen to other people who are studying and learn from them. But the one thing you know is that we don't really know. Uh, I think I mentioned earlier, uh, if I didn't mention it earlier, I heard it earlier. Actually, Luke Fickell, he's the head football coach for the University of Wisconsin, which most of you know I'm a crazy Badger fan. I got another Badger shirt on as we're sitting here. And Luke was talking to his team. Badgers have had a pretty disappointing year in football this year. And he just said, the one thing we know is that we don't know. One thing that we know is that things don't go the way you plan them, not exactly as you plan them. And I thought that's really true, obviously in football, but it's really true in everything we do. So you've got to be nimble and ready to adjust. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about this towards the end of this because it's important also to have a plan. You can't just wing it. Don't do that. Nobody does that. Nobody who wings it wins long term. You might get lucky, but you've got to have a plan. But social media should be part of your plan. Most of you guys are probably active on Facebook. A lot of you guys are members of our car flipping forums. I know that's where most of our members are congregated and are continuing to join. If you haven't joined yet, please join the car flipping forum. It's free to join, and we're building more on that as we go forward. Most of you are probably marketing your vehicles on Facebook Marketplace. Some of you are probably using Nextdoor. That's another good place to use them. I know when we first got this thing started, when my company first was birthed, I look back and the only thing we used really was I'm drawing a blank. It's so crazy that I'm drawing a blank as to what we were using. Now we did use some eBay. I was buying some things from eBay at the time. And the other thing that we used is just completely escaping my mind because it's become so not important anymore. Wow. Sorry. It's kind of blowing me away that this is the case. I'm going to pause this a second so I can look this up. Okay. Craigslist is what I was trying to think of, and I apologize for that. Man, that's a little frightening. But when we first got started, Craigslist, everything went on Craigslist. Craigslist was the bomb. I miss it. I loved Craigslist. I did very, very well on it. And when they came, the change there was that they decided to start charging us. It was always free, and they started charging us, and then I think Facebook saw the opportunity, so they created the marketplace, and Craigslist is almost non-existent for me right now. Now, some of you may still be using Craigslist, and I'd love to hear more about what you're doing. If you're doing something different to market your cars than what I'm talking about right now, Facebook Marketplace, as of this day, is the number one thing that I use. Now, I also use Facebook groups. And as I've talked about in the past, we have Facebook selling groups set up through Flipping Genius across the country, about 28 of them right now, and still open to in most places to bringing in a partner. If you're interested in partnering with us in those areas where we're at, contact me. Write me an email, flippingquestions@gmail.com. Tell me what you'd like to do. We're set up in most major cities right now, but we still got more places to go. And the idea there is if you control that marketplace, if you control your local group, and I controls kind of a hard, I don't mean that as some kind of a undermining word, but you are the administrator for the group. You have the ability to make sure that the group and its content is pertinent. Like here in the Huntsville, Alabama area, my number one group, the number one group in the country, has 34,000 members in it, and that's for used cars $5,000 and less, because that's the market that I work in. I have another group in the area that's used cars between $5,000 and $10,000. Those are both Flipping Genius groups, and both of those groups are very, very active. The second group I also manage, and that group has I think we're close to 5,000 members in that group. And there's no BS in there. You don't, you may see somebody advertise a couch or advertise something. You'll see them for about 20 minutes, maybe 3 hours. I see it when I see it, boom, they're gone. They're gone. They're gone. If somebody advertises a vehicle that is outside of the price range, I usually don't kick them out of the group. I just delete that and I make it so that they can't post without my approval. I don't like messing around with that, but that's how you keep your group clean. And if the group is clean, people come back looking for vehicles and they come back to sell the vehicles. And when they sell the vehicles, sometimes you buy them, because if a deal goes on there that looks really good, you should be one of the first ones to see it if you're keeping close tabs on your group. So having tools like that they're fantastic. There's some fantastic social media tools that allow us to communicate both the products we have for sale and the products we want to buy, and you should be using them. We're going to be talking more about that. I've mentioned that there's going to be a private group. Just being straight up with you. Flipping Genius has been in existence now we're going on 5 years, I believe, and done really well. The following is strong. I appreciate all you guys watching and listening. And I'm trying to turn it into a revenue stream. I hope you don't mind that, but that only makes sense to me, that I would make some kind of money from it. And in order for me to make money, I got to bring money to the table for you. And one of the things we're going to talk about in the private pages of Flipping Genius and our website, flippinggenius.com, 1G, will be this social media marketing and how to build up your presence, how I build up the presence for my business here locally, and how it's turned into profits. And you can do the same thing. What you're doing there is trying to build some exclusivity, and you're trying to build your reputation online, and then steer business your way, whether it be somebody selling you something or you buying something. And more online marketing along those lines. Still, websites can be of value. I don't think they have as much potency as they did at one time, but and my websites are pretty clean that I run online. And I have various websites, but our car website, middlemancars.com, our car buying website, randybuyscars.com. Those sites are just clean and efficient and easy to access, and they tell you what you want to hear. That I buy cars, here's how you do it. I sell cars, here's what I got. Simple as that. And now you could make yours more complex, but that's easy and it's easy to manage. So that's why we do that. But we'll talk more about that. I'm not going to go into great detail right now, because that's what that's what we're gonna hold a little back. I decided not to give it all away. I was telling you about how you're not going to get the full answer for free. You know that. That's how it is. But everything we tell you can make you money. But there's going to be more to it than that. And that's I think what Mr. Cuban was talking about. I don't think he was saying that somebody who's online telling you their secrets is necessarily trying to rip you off. You just have to realize that there's more to it than that. And the fact is, I could never tell you everything you're going to need to build your business because you got to build it. You got to make your own mistakes, and that's part of it. So I'm trying to give you the shortcuts. I'm trying to help you make more money. That's always been the goal, the number one goal of Flipping Genius, and it continues to be. But as we get further down the road here, I realize it makes sense to kind of carve out some of what I do and share it just with the people who are willing to invest a little bit in Flipping Genius. It's not a lot, but if you are willing to invest, you'll see that it's coming up. And along those lines, online learning. I was talking about it earlier. Be careful what you listen to. Be careful for a couple ways. One, some of it's just BS. That's just the fact. Some of it's just clickbait to try to get you to put your credit card in. And I've seen some stuff recently where they're going for a home run, trying to get you to drop $1,700-$1,800 on them in some things that just are blatantly a ripoff. But usually it's a small amount, and in some cases it's perfectly legitimate and probably even a good investment. And the idea that you spend a couple bucks means that you might, invest yourself, not just your money. Because I know if you're like me, if you spend a couple dollars, you're going to make it count. So that's not all bad. But look into it. Use that gut instinct I was talking about, the one I was using the other day, yesterday when I was. It was yesterday that I was talking to, because it's gone one night. That's what I'm saying. That's why I changed shirts. But anyway, yesterday when I was talking to the kid and he was telling me he weighed 300 and I just didn't trust him. There's been a couple other occasions in it recently. Some workmen who said we do a great job. I did some investigation and find out they haven't done a great job. And I'm so glad that I used that gut instinct. So use your gut instinct to try to look into, do you really think that this person is looking out for your best interest? And if you do, if you hear good things, that's a good place to invest your time. A lot of times I'll find that I can spend 15 or 20 minutes watching some YouTube videos about the things I'm trying to learn, and it saves me. I believe it saves me days, if not weeks, of trouble. And sometimes it's because sometimes I learn I don't want to do this because I watch what it takes to do it, and it doesn't fit me. So this is good stuff, and it doesn't all have to cost you money. There's a lot of good free online learning on YouTube and other places, but use it. Be out there using it. And I mean, and you know that already. You know everything from how to repair something to how to set something up, how to market it. It's all out there. But make that part of your schedule, make that part of your day as you grow your business. And along those lines, we're not all set up to do everything. Everybody isn't good at everything. You've heard me admit, if you listen to a few of my podcasts or watch some videos, I am constantly talking about the shortcomings that I know I have. I'm not going to say I'm proud of the shortcomings, but I will say that I am proud of myself for admitting them, because if you can't admit your weaknesses, you you tend to fail, because there's probably some things you're not good at. You can get better at them, but sometimes it's not the best idea to get better at them. It's a better idea to get somebody to partner with who's good at them. And I've done that not only in the car flipping business, but in every business I've been involved in. Find people who can do the things that you're not good at or that you don't want to do. I think this is one of the most valuable things that you can do. And that could be a mechanic, but if you are the mechanic, it could be the marketing. If you are great at repairing, but you're not good at selecting, it could be the buyer. You could find a guy. There's a guy that I know in Texas who's fantastic at buying uh, wholesales, buying vehicles at wholesale. He knows how to buy and still have money in between. He can sell the vehicle to you and still make money, and you still get a better deal than if you bought it on your own. What a great guy to have in your corner. So look for those kind of guys. Look for those people that can put money in your pocket and still make money themselves. Nothing wrong with them making money. Don't worry about somebody else making money. If you both can make money, that's a beautiful thing, because now you've got somebody who is literally in your corner, helping you grow your business. So yeah, that's partnering for profits. Increase your profits by partnering together with someone that is looking out for themselves and looking for you. If you want to know more about that, keep your eyes open. There'll be more opportunities for us to share more about that in the future. And if you've got questions, if you've got examples you'd like to share, go to the Car Flipping Forum, share what you've talked about, or go to send me an email to flippingquestions@gmail.com. And if you'd really like to share, like to maybe do a one-on-one conversation with me, then we could be in a future episode and talk on our YouTube channel, Flipping Genius YouTube channel, if you haven't seen that, or on a future episode of the podcast. That would be fantastic. Now, one last thing I want to talk to you about before we wrap up this episode is, as I said, it's November 21st, 2023 right now. That means we've got right around 40 days left in this year. Now, if you're like me, man, you are slick. If you're like me, you have been planning and tracking and watching every single day of this year. And I'm not kidding. Every single day I watch and track and try to make the most of every day, all 365 days of the year, because I have plans, and I had plans, and I want to make those goals. And now we've got about 40 days left in the year. 40 days. Now, if you've got goals like one of my goals, walk 2,000 miles this year. So I've got to hit like 5.7 miles per day in order to hit that goal. That's something I know. That's something I know because I tracked it today. I tracked it yesterday. I know where I'm at in my sales goals. I know where I'm at in growth goals. Everything in this packet that's right here. I'm not going to show you all the details, but this right back here in the back of this packet, you can see it, right? Let's see. There it is. Those are my goals, and I think it's about 18 pages long. I track every single thing in there all the time. I practice what I preach, absolutely, and I've got stacks of these things from past years. Yeah, I do it old school on a clipboard. You can do it any way you want, but I do it this way. That's how I do it. That way, it's next to me and next to the fireplace. During this time of year, it's out on the screen porch in the morning. I carry it with me. I like to have the paper there, and I like to track it. And we've talked about this before. Way back, we started off one of the first episodes. We talked about goals. We've talked about this before because this is going on my 5th year. Every year we track. Every year we make plans. And if you're not doing this, if you haven't done this, you got to start. You got to make your goals. If you are having success without planning, God bless you, but it won't continue. You've got to have a plan. If you are planning, you can get better. That's one thing. I know we can all get better at it. Now, don't go crazy. Sometimes I think maybe I'm a little crazy because I do track everything, but I feel like my life is better because of that. And so I'm not going to try to reinvent this wheel because I know I've talked about this before. You can go back to one of the early episodes. It's number 2, 3, or 4, and you can see it about a year out. Every single year, we talk about the same thing. We talk about make sure you wrap up your goals. Make sure you've tracked them, and then make sure you start setting them. So I drop this on you right now because it's time for you to start to evaluate your year. Most likely, unless you do your year in some other sequence. Start evaluating where you're at compared to where you wanted to be, and be realistic with yourself, and then start planning for next year. And if you wonder, how do I set my goals? How do I make them measurable, meaningful? All those other wonderful words that I've used many times before. Go back to the past episodes and check them out. And feel free to share with me. Feel free to reach out and ask me questions, flippingquestions@gmail.com, or on the forum. I'd be happy to work with you. Be happy to hear what kind of success you've had and what kind of plans you're making. Because that's absolutely, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. Failure to plan is I'm forgetting that one. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Simple as that. That's the one. And I even got a note on mine. Plan your work and work your plan. That was my commentary this year. I changed it from last year. I think the last year was the failure to plan is planning to fail. Everything's pretty much been said, but these are things I live, and they've made a difference for me. Hey, I appreciate you listening to this week's episode. You can find all the episodes of Flipping Genius wherever you listen to the podcast. If this is the first time you're listening, please save us as a favorite and come back. If you can give us a 5-star review, 6-star review, please give it to us. If there's something you wish that we did different, send me a note then, instead of just like don't badmouth me on the thing. Send me a note and tell me how to improve, because it's something we work at. We'd love it if you'd share us with your friends. Make sure that you subscribe to the Flipping Genius YouTube channel. That is absolutely essential. We're still building that. Absolutely need you to subscribe to that. I mean, the reason I'm doing that, folks, is you have to hit a certain number before YouTube starts paying you some money, and I got to hit that number. I'm sorry if I offend anybody by telling you that a used car dealer wants to make money. And we do make money on the cars, but hey, why not make money on everything you do? And that's what we're trying to do. And I appreciate your help. I appreciate those guys who have subscribed. All you people who have subscribed, I really appreciate you. Share us with a friend. Share us with somebody you think we can help them make more money, because that's what we're here for. And if I don't talk to you again before your holidays, wish you the greatest holidays. And I hope to hear from a lot of you. Keep your eyes open. Make sure that you are checking out the Car Flipping Forum. Make sure that you are watching future episodes, both on YouTube and listening on the podcast, because we've got some good stuff coming to you. And if you got any requests or suggestions, please send them to me, flippingquestions@gmail.com. I'm Randy Lee, and I will answer you personally. Hey, let's work together. Let's make some money. Let's all become flipping geniuses. The number one goal of Flipping Genius is to help you make more money. Become a flipping team member or a flipping partner today. Learn more at flippinggenius.com.